There you go. Hello everyone, my name is Mingren, and English is my second language. I speak perfect Mandarin, but for better coverage, I guess I would like to speak in English to do the presentation. So bear with me if my message is not clear. Interrupt me whenever you feel like it. What I'm talking today is a project that we have been going on for almost 2 years. And it's for universal decentralized asset protocol. What we're trying to do, basically that's the same. The message we are trying to pass to is the tokenizing everything. I guess many of you have already heard of it, tokenizing everything. But what really it means is that we are introducing some kind of concept into this, and we are doing an implementation that will help all the third-party applications to realize the goal of tokenizing everything. Okay, next. So first, we introduce a concept called Singular, which is the new programming model. The idea is that we would like to see a world where everything has its home on the blockchain. So basically, it's one thing, one contract. So we're talking about quite a bit of technical details. So I would like to see how many of you have get your hands on smart contracts on Ethereum before? Okay, about 30%, 20%, that's fine. Okay, don't get into too much detail. Anyway, so the idea is that for each of us to, be on chain, basically means each of us will have a contract on the on the blockchain. In this case, would be Ethereum contract. So I imagine a world where we used to have home pages in the internet world. We were talking about for each company, for each of us to have a home page. But I guess in this world of the blockchain, we need to have a home page on blockchain, and that home page is based on the Singular. This is what we call the non-fungible token account. Basically, what the account have is the name, the URL, a signature of the URL, the creator who creates that account for you, and who owns the account, and also the history and everything. And of course, we have some fancy stuff such as hash lock and time lock to do transactions, to interact with other entities on the blockchain. So we imagine this could happen, and once every of us will have a home page on the Ethereum, we have very exciting way of interacting with each other. So let's continue. So basically, this is the what a home page will look like in a technical term. So it's all about the identity and the transfer of the ownerships. So I'll go quickly since only 20% or 30% of you have ideas. So basically you will go, approve who will take the ownership, and then who will do the announcement of making ownership transfer. This is to make it compatible to state channel. I guess some of you know that the state channel is one of the core technologies that will bring the blockchain technology to home. That's what I call the last mile for the blockchain technology into mass adoption. So for anyone that has been pre-authorized to be the owner of this token, you can choose either to accept it or reject it. Of course, you have other fancy interface too, such as you want to do swap, atomic swap of tokens. So I have this token, you have that token, you would like to do atomic swap, you can easily do that with a single interface. And you can even put it on for sale. For example, I have this microphone. I would like to put it on for sale for 20 bucks. Then I can simply ask for some money, but in this case it would be ERC20 kind of contract and the unit of the currencies. Once it's up there, anyone can simply buy this item, basically to take the ownership of this item by calling this contract by call. So we have an interface that grab ERC20 cash, basically go in and then take the ownership with that kind of money. Of course, this is what we call, sometimes we call the economic abstraction of Ethereum, which basically means you can use whatever currency you would like to have to take the ownership of another piece of asset without relying on Ethereum. But this generates quite a bit of controversy. I guess Jeremy Rubin a week ago posted an article and say because of the economic abstraction, Ethereum could potentially go to zero. I mean, the currency itself, but the network is still great. Anyway, this is just something for us. I mean, not all of us will have Ethereum. If we're talking about bringing blockchain applications to mass, to the general public, you're not talking about everyone must have Ethereum to do trading or interaction with the blockchain. You're knowing that people only have Chinese yuan, American dollars, Japanese yen, etc. But you must allow them to do the trading and buy stuff and buy the assets on the blockchain. That's why I say you can't basically assume that they have the cryptocurrencies. That's what the economic abstraction basically is about. I think it's very important. Okay, so this is basically the singular object which represents a thing on the blockchain. This has great interoperability with existing standards such as ERC 721. ERC 721 basically is a collection of items. It's a generator of items, but it's not enough. Okay? Each of the items right now in ERC 721 is just a number, which doesn't carry much information at all for any sophisticated applications. So in this case, you really need to focus on a single item that's been created by the ERC 721. This is what the singular is all about. It's a single thing. And a singular can be composable, which basically means you can have a room as a singular, and then you have the different furnitures in the room too. So you have a singular that contains other singulars as well. And the singular works with ERC 20 very nicely too. As I said, when you're talking about ERC 20, you're talking about ERC 20 account, which has the information about who owns how much. But in this case, if you want to really do what we call economic abstraction, you need to have the abstraction say, I own how much money. In the bill, for example, US dollar. So we have a very simple adapter that to wrap the ERC20. So basically generate a cash, what we call the ERC20 cash. You can simply pay someone the ERC20 cash as a token, as a singular, in exchange for a specific piece of asset. Okay. Then each singular is owned by a singular wallet. It cannot be owned by EOA, externally owned account. So it must be owned by a contract. Okay. So this contract can be a multi-sig contract. It can be anything. Even you can have dedications for other contracts as well. So basically, we'll form a chain of authorization. And EOA can right now hide behind this contract. And then later on in a year or two, we are talking about Ethereum will go to the direction where there's only one type of account, which is contract account. So it's kind of the same spirit of what we are doing here. This is how the ERC20 will interact with as singular. And this is how the token transfer happens between wallets and accounts, all through by the interface of singular and the singular wallet. And this is how the automatic token swap works with the API. This is one of the more complicated interface, but we have several ones, but I'm not presenting it here. And okay, for any one of us, for any of those naive smart contract programmers, you will think, thank you, 5 minutes, I got it. Okay, so when we're talking about the smart contract, you're already talking about you must know the source code to actually interact with the smart contract. There is a misconception in saying that a smart contract is trustful, which is not. You have to know what the bytecode really is to really entrust any business with it. So in our case, any singular that promise to tweet for something might be at risk if you don't know where that singular comes from. So in our system, we have a singular factory, which basically gives the certificate of each of the instances of the singular and say this one is from a public available, public verifiable source of factory, and then you can basically believe it. Once we have the singular place, the next thing is state channel. Okay, this is how we view what we call a typical internet application. The internet application is made of an application with all the users, and each of the user and the application form a state channel. Basically, it's the account information. What you own in this application, what you owe to this application, what the basically general information. So we view this as a collection, a summation of the state channels. So for example, if I'm a user of this application, and basically I'm saying I have the balance of 320, I have a singular A, have a singular B, have a singular C. That's the state channel. The state channel will be encoded on the Ethereum. Then this is our model, what we call the asset-oriented programming model, where the application does not need to be relying on the smart contract. The smart contract will only work as the adjudication system, rather than an online transaction processor. This is the philosophy of Plasma and any of those layer 1 and layer 2 scalability solutions, which is don't treat blockchain as in your DB2, okay? So essentially what we are trying to do is say existing application developers can use whatever technology they use to create their applications, but entrust what we call the UDAP node to process their assets. This is our model. You don't reprogram everything and then put all your business logic on-chain as in the smart contract, which is a big risk factor. As I said, there are over about, $200 million have been lost in the last 2 years because of minor bugs in your smart contracts. So in our case, we don't allow anyone to write smart contract. In our case, we provide templates. This is the state channel anyway. Or we provide templates. So the application will simply register themselves with us, and then we can deploy smart contracts based on their requirements. So it's always verified and all fully audited and stuff like that. But then they continue using the application structure, but with the interface of monitoring the assets transfer and ownership and that stuff. Okay, so let's continue with that. What we provide for the end customer is we do the receipt custody, we do the contract enforcement and channel updating and withdrawal monitoring to make sure that the assets are always secure. But with the city channel, you get 100 times more scalability and some privacy if that is desired. Of course that's desired, because one of the things that people hate about Ethereum or have higher expectation of Ethereum is because right now it's lacking the scalability. Okay, this is a state channel, how non-fungible assets can work with the state channel, and there's 1 minute left, that's fine. Okay, this is how some people, technical guys, and we can later talk about how we do state channels with the non-fungible assets, and some of the other people saying it's not possible, but we think it is with our case anyway. This is how a traditional application interact with the blockchain, with the template suite, and with the middleware. We provide token services and city channel services, plus payment relay and messaging, content re-encryption, etc. So this is the general topology of what we call the asset programming model. This is the pre-defined the contract templates that can be dynamically deployed based on the application requirement. And then we provide a final touch to the whole thing, is we provide an asset wallet. Once you have the thing on your chain, you must have a universal way of browsing and interacting with your assets. That's what we do. We have an asset wallet, which basically all of them are non-fungible wallets. This is not your grandma's IAM token, right? It's not even grandma's, but it's not your neighbor's wallet. So once you see each of those items here, we are talking about deployment, a public notice. We would like to put a public notice on the blockchain. You can simply do that on your wallet. Oops. Yeah, don't get too excited. Well, anyway, this is something we already have done. We're going to release this for our wallet this month. We are still in the final stage of finalizing, polishing everything. So people only pay like $1 US to make a public notice on the blockchain. You don't need to worry about Ethereum and to own any of those things. Okay, this is what the talking about. And the wallet can handle assets on the C channel plus on chain, and eventually we're going to be able to allow them to browse assets on multiple chains, Ethereum, other Ethereum, Plasma, etc. And this is what we're trying to do, bring the internet experience into the blockchain, and the UDAP will fill the, fill the gap between